Go. Your line is muted. Only the host can unmute your line. Raise your hand using *2 so the host knows when you want to speak.
Okay, we're going to try this again. Power to the truth. This is Margo. It looks like we're streaming live. If people, as they gather in the chat room, if they could let me know. I'm streaming live over to YouTube. I'm over at TalkShoe because it seems to work from over there. And I'm sharing my screen with the earthquakes. We've got a lot to talk about today. Things are really ramping up, and I'm going to talk about extremely high methane levels in the Arctic, and we're going to talk about the earthquakes that have been happening and some other stuff. And I know it's been a long time since I've done a live stream, and I just felt like this information is so important that it's got to get out. It's got to get out now. And it says extra low latency. I don't know why that is. I'm not doing anything different than I've done before. And so it says that there's going to be buffering. I hope that's not the case. Live stream. Health. The internet can totally see you now. Okay. It looks okay. Looks like we're streaming. So I'm going to go ahead and start my presentation. And I have it set in presentation mode over on TalkShoe so that I won't be interrupted by people. And but I'm going to try and stream this over to YouTube. Hi, Victor. Says that I'm coming in loud and clear this time. Thank you. And looks like you can see my screen with the earthquakes. What we're looking at. Oh, thank you for being here, Victor. I really appreciate it. It says I have 5 watching now. I've got two thumbs ups, no trolls yet. The trolls like to go ahead and give me a thumbs down before I start. But we're going to try and get through this. I don't know how long it's going to take. And I will be coming back and forth and checking the chat. I don't have any moderators, so everyone just needs to be on their best behavior, because I'll go back and review the chat, and if people were not on their best behavior, they will be dealt with. And I'm just warning everyone, and because I don't have people to help me on this, it's just me. So welcome, power to the truth, and we're gonna keep getting this information out as best we can for as long as we can. I haven't done a live stream since, I can't remember, September, August, September. So I'm a little bit rusty on all of this, so bear with me. We'll do the best we can. So if things start spinning, just bear with me, and I'll be checking back over on YouTube to make sure that things are doing what they're supposed to do. First of all, what we're seeing here is the USGS earthquake map for all magnitudes for the last 24 hours. And there's one that was up here on right up here by the North Pole. It just now dropped off the map. It was a 4.8 that we had yesterday, and it's been just incredible in the last 24 hours. We can see we've got 621 earthquakes worldwide in the last 24 hours. And I looked up all of the earthquakes in the last week of all magnitudes. I looked that up this morning, and it was 4,175. So we're rocking. And what I want to look at this morning, not only the Alaska area, but down here in the South Pacific, we've had all of these big ones from New Caledonia right down here. Right here to the right, and they've been rocking since last night. And if you look over here on the left, you can see like these recent ones, even all magnitudes. I mean, it's just been rocking 4.6, 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, 5.5, 5.2, 4.9, 4.7, 4.8, 4.9, 4.8, 5.1, 5.2, 5.1. These are all, this is edible. And so we're looking at this area right here, and it shows 39 earthquakes in this map that we're seeing. So including this area and up here, I don't know if you can see my cursor or not. Probably not. I probably have to share the whole screen, and I really don't want to do that. I mean everything. I'm just sharing the browser. But what really is amazing to me is the difference in these earthquakes down here, which are of a larger magnitude, and the earthquakes that are happening up in Alaska. And we had that 7.6 last night, and it was downgraded to a 7.5. And I want to show you how you can look up tsunami warnings. You just click on the wave there, and it says no tsunami warning right now. But what you do, then you scroll down, and if they've got anything pending, like right now, it'll be listed in this area right here. But then it's got a list of all the warnings that they've had. And here's the last one right here for US West Coast. And they'll say whether or not there's a warning or not. And it says, this tsunami information is for Alaska, British Columbia, Washington, Oregon, and California. There is no tsunami danger from this earthquake. And this is from the 4.4 that just happened from Palmer, Alaska, and Anchorage, Alaska. So that's how you read these things. And then you can close that out. And then you can just go down the list and see it's listed with the earthquake. And then the next one is for that 7.6 that happened. And this says the tsunami forecast is unchanged in this message. And this was for the 7.6 that happened at 4:18 UTC time on December 5th, which was actually last night for me and for where I'm reporting from. And the location was southeast of Loyalty Islands. And it says an earthquake with a preliminary magnitude of 7.6 occurred southeast of the Loyalty Islands at 4:18 UTC on Wednesday, December 5th. Based on all available data, the tsunami threat from this earthquake has now passed. But you can see everything that they observed. They did observe tsunami waves, and it says the following are tsunami wave observations from coastal and or deep ocean sea level gauges at the indicated locations. The maximum tsunami height is measured with respect to the normal tide level. And so then here's the list of the waves that were observed. Here's where they were over on the left, and then the coordinates and the time and how high they went up. Like the highest one was 0.72 meters, and that's equivalent to 2.4 feet, and that lasted 6 minutes. And it happened at Linakil, Vanuatu. And then the next highest one was 0.43 meters or 1.4 feet that happened at Mere, New Caledonia, and that lasted for 10 minutes. The longest one lasted for 38 minutes, and that was at Suva VT, Levu, Fiji, and that was a 0.03 meters or 0.1 feet. So, and that happened for 38 minutes. So that's how you read these things. And so you can be tracking these things yourself. And I just, like last night, figured out how to read all this stuff. And I didn't realize you could just come right over here and scroll down. I mean, no one shows you how to read this stuff. You just kind of like have to figure it out for yourself. So let's go back. So it's still rocking and rolling down there, and I'm still kind of blown away with all of this huge activity down here. And these are not nothing earthquakes. These are large earthquakes, starting with the 7 points. Well, it actually started before that with these in that area, Fiji, Papua New Guinea, New Caledonia. So this one that was 6.0 was at the same place that happened about 3.5 hours before the 7.5, 7.6 that got downgraded to the 7.5. It happened about 3.5 hours before the big one hit. So that was a precursor. And then since then, all of these, if you look, we're all in that area. They're in the map here. And so it's on this red line, this red tectonic plate here. And it's opposite the Alaska quakes. So I'm going to hop up to Alaska now. Well, before I go to Alaska, I'm going to check and make sure my stream is good. I'm going to hop over to YouTube. It looks like everything is doing good. Oh, good. You can see the cursor. Thanks for being patient. Hi, Gray Silverback. Thank you for joining me today. You say, thanks for sharing this information. You're awesome. Oh, thank you. You know, I miss the live streams. I had so many trolls and so much weird stuff that started happening, and I was coming under so many attacks. I backed off, and I just didn't want to do it. And I got really tired too at the end of the Arctic melt season. It was like a big race to the finish, and you know, it never really finished. I'm going to show you that today too. There's not a finish line with this stuff. It just keeps going. Okay, now we're going to look at Alaska. And remember in my last update, I talked about the little earthquakes, the little microquakes, like what we're seeing up here. And these are small, but they're very important. And I had a dream about them. Oh, before we go up there was a down here in Chile this morning, there was a 5.5. There was also down here on this South Sandwich Islands, there was a 4.8. So we can see that these are all on the red lines. I thought there was one. No, that's the one I just showed. Okay, so they're all on these red lines, which are the tectonic plate lines. So we talked a little bit about, and there's a cluster over here in the Bahamas or the Dominican Republic. There's a little cluster over here. There's been 11 earthquakes over there that you can see. They've been fairly small. But the dream that I had was about the microquakes because I was looking at those. I've become very interested in these microquakes and the small ones. And I live up here in the Reno area, and we get earthquakes. I mean, there are fault lines that come right through here. And in fact, you look and see, there have been, right down here, there have been 2 north of Lake Tahoe in the last 24 hours. This is Lake Tahoe, and this is the north end, Kings Beach. And Reno is north, kind of a little bit northeast of Lake Tahoe. And but it's easy to get there. It's easy. And I used to live right up here on Mount Rose Highway. Well, yeah, right up here on Mount Rose Highway. And like the first month, right after I moved to Reno, we had a 4.8 earthquake, and it shook my little cabin. And it happened on Sunflower Mountain right up here. And that got me, I started looking at the USGS and earthquakes at that time and kind of following. But in the last 24 hours, see, we've had this little 0.1 earthquake. So that's a microquake at Tahoe Vista, California. Now that's not enough to do any damage, but it's shaking. Stuff is moving. And then there was a 1.4 at Tahoe Vista, California. And then there's been a swarm of these small ones down here, southeast of Carson City. And these are all small. But the dream I had was that the small ones are just as important, or maybe even more important than the big ones, because it's showing that the things are happening underneath the surface, and that the earth is kind of like coming apart, and it's like imploding. Here's a 0.5 in Indian Hills, Nevada. And sometimes you'll see the negative earthquakes. It'll say minus 0.1 or something like that. And that's has to do with the algorithm. And oh, someone left a good comment under my last video talking about that, saying that has to do with the Richter scale, and that with the newer equipment, we can measure the smaller earthquakes better. And so based upon the Richter scale, it's a minus, because when the Richter scale was started, they could only measure up to a certain level. So thank you, Peacemaker, for explaining that. So let's see. So I don't want to get lost here. So we're seeing a swarm of microquakes down here to the southeast of Carson City. And we're seeing a lot of small earthquakes going down through California. You see these little clusters, and this is the San Andreas Fault down here. But then when we go up here to Alaska, here's the Cascadia Basin and the Cascadia Subduction Zone. Here's Alaska. We're coming on up. Well, this is Canada now. Bear with me. I like to just go follow my little trail. Now, look at Alaska. These dots that you're seeing, these orange and red dots, that signifies 339 earthquakes in the last 24 hours. Does that look like 339 earthquakes? Now, when you start zooming in, you can't tell because they're all just piled up on each other. Now, anchor it down here, and the 7.6 that, or whatever it was, that got downgraded to 7.0, or I can't remember now, was right up here. And the TV station got torn up, and they were still reporting. But I mean, there was a lot of damage, and the roads, everything's kind of like liquefying now because of these tiny earthquakes. It just keeps going, and this looks just like the dream I had. So that's very disturbing that all these earthquakes are still happening, and so it means that it's not stopping. And these little earthquakes are significant, and there's permafrost coming up, and it's not nothing. There's methane coming up. There's not permafrost coming up. The permafrost is releasing methane. Now, what I saw before that big earthquake, I had been seeing up here in Alaska some smaller quakes, but they were more up like in a line, like these. I was seeing these, okay, like what we're still seeing. And we're seeing like there's a 3.3 at Prudhoe Bay. So these are a little bit bigger. Here's one down here in the Aleutian Islands. This is considered part of Alaska too. And these islands are all volcanic. There's like 100 volcanoes on these islands, and some of them are active. So you're going to see, oh, here's a negative earthquake. See, here's a minus 0.3. Minus 0.3 at 43 kilometers east-northeast of Adak, Alaska, and it's a minus 0.1 kilometers depth. Now, with a minus depth like that, that means that it happened up inside the mountain a little bit, like it was a mountain or a hill of some kind. And a minus depth means it was above the surface, not below the surface. And so that was from magma coming up. So that's probably a volcano. So here's that. So there's a lot going on that we're not aware of. And we just have to keep watching these things. And I watch all day long. Just because I'm not live streaming or doing a video every day doesn't mean I'm not watching. And I hope that other people are watching too. I want to hop over to Climate Reanalyzer. This is the 2-meter temperature anomaly from today. And we can see in the North Pole, it's red. And so that's like into the 20 degrees Celsius. That's higher than normal. And then the brown is, up around 10 degrees higher. So, and then Alaska, yesterday this was red and now it's like red brown. But look, down here where the earthquakes are happening, it's like red brown as well. So the temperatures are much warmer than they are normally in this whole region. So I think that's why we're having all of this activity. I wanted to show you that. I'm going to pop over to YouTube and see how we're doing. Okay, it looks like everything's coming over good. Robert Callaghan says microaggressive quakes. I think so. Michael Berlin got in late, but thank you. Thank you everyone for being here. I've got 12 watching now. Victor says, could it be the parts of the earth is kind of rebouncing back that is causing all these earthquakes? That very well could be, Victor, because everything is moving, and when one plate moves, it makes it move on the other side. And the little quakes are important. But I have a theory about why we're getting little quakes on this side of the world and big quakes on the other side, but I'm not going to go into it right now. It's going to be when I present the next paper, that next paper. So that's when I'm going to go into that. So it looks like my stream is holding up. So I'm going to go back to my analysis. Now, I've got, I want to show you NASA Worldview. I've got the sea ice pulled up for the Arctic. Now this is from November 29th, and I'm just going to go forward. And this is sea ice concentration and snow extent. And so you can see day by day as I click forward where it's kind of like coming back a little bit. So here's the 3rd. Now watch this. On the 4th, it diminished. If you look up here in the Kara Sea here and by Novaya Zemlya and by these islands, the sea ice diminished. So let me click back. Now you can see how it went out. And now, so on December the 3rd, there was more sea ice than on December the 4th. It's a clear diminishment. So these higher temperatures and the release of the methane and the earthquakes are causing the sea ice not only make it hard for it to refreeze, but it's melting. So I know this is hard for people to hear, but we've got to get this information out. I've got to do it. I have to do it. I can't not do it. Okay. Now I did my last report on, can't remember whether it was the 2nd, but we have data, methane data back from September the 1st through Monday the 3rd. So this is on cams. So I already have the movie loaded. Hopefully it'll just go ahead and play. Here it goes. It's going to be a little jerky the first time through. This is the North Pole view. And so this is data from Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and then it goes into the forecast period for Tuesday and Wednesday. Now what we're seeing is here's the Arctic, here's Greenland, here's the US, and like here's Siberia and Russia. Here, Novaya Zemlya is right here, and we're seeing these black clouds of methane. This is surface reading, and what's so disturbing to me is this wave, and before it was red coming up, and now it's black coming up, and it's not stopping. Look, it's going right to the North Pole. So I think we're in the middle of a methane event, frankly, and this is why I had to go live today. And then we're seeing the red over here that's coming off. But this is why the sea ice is melting. Whatever is froze back, it's melting now because of this. I'm certain of it. There are no climate scientists reporting on it. And Robin and I have been exchanging research and data, and he's done his own reporting on it, but he's not a climate scientist. And I'm like, where's Paul Beckwith? Where's Sam Carana reporting on this? Where's Guy McPherson reporting? I mean, seriously, what good are these climate scientists if they're not going to report on what's happening right here, right now? You know, sorry I'm ranting, but I'm upset. And we see methane releasing off the east coast of the United. Look at this. Look at this huge red wave going into the Atlantic. Have you seen that before? That's in the forecast period here. I'm freaking out. I'm flipping out over here. This is why I had to do the live stream. I am flipping out with the earthquakes and then, okay, so let's look at Alaska. It's got some methane coming up too, but this is awful. And then you've got India black, and you've got China and Asia all black, and it's just, we've got Europe all black, and we've got Russia and Siberia black, and this reading, I say black, but it's this dark brown, 75,600 parts per billion. It's the top of the scale. It's off the charts now. And look how it's coming over in the ocean here. This is India. You can't even see where the continent stops. I mean, here's the Indian Ocean, and it's like this. It's look how far out it's coming. It's like you can't even see the continent because it's all black. It's crazy. So if this is not a methane event, I'd like to know what is one, frankly. I mean, seriously. Now I want to go, we're going to get a closer view of this Arctic methane event. And so we have the latest data we have is from Monday. So I set my base time at Monday. And so we've got data for Monday, and then it goes into a 4-day forecast period. And I zoomed in so that we can have the Arctic area, and we're still at surface level. And now let's run this movie, and you can be flipping out with me here. Just let it run through a cycle, and it'll smooth out. But we've been having, remember, let's see, I report on my Facebook page these earthquakes and things on a daily basis, even though I'm not doing YouTube videos every day. But there was an earthquake down here off the east coast of Greenland a couple of days ago. It was a 4 point something. Yeah, you can get an up close view of this red and black dragon coming up. Look at this. And we've got red. This is the East Siberia ice shelf where those clathrates are. And there's all this stuff over here in Novaya, by Novaya Zemlya. Look at that. And look how it's swirling around seriously. And this is surface level. This is like 1000 HPA surface level. And if you go up higher in the atmosphere, the readings it spreads out and the readings are higher. And it covers the whole North Pole. It's all red when you go up to that. I'm going to let that go while I go back over back over on YouTube. Hi, Marcia. Thanks for being here. I'm glad to see you. You say pressure on the tectonic plates is being altered by the Arctic meltdown. Guy talked about that months ago when Kilauea exploded, earthquakes and volcanic activity. Right, we talked about that when I interviewed him back in May. Victor says, methane looks a lot worse almost daily. Those dark brown waves are indeed scary enough, and it is weird nobody's talking about it. And I said, and I have been saying this for a long time, that when we have a methane event, the climate science community, the scientists are going to go dark, and the data will go dark, and we won't know. It'll just be from people like looking at sulfur dioxide or ozone, or maybe, we'll have some data that we can look at, like right here. Victor says, if this is happening now already, imagine what it will be like next year. Seriously, Victor. Hi, Robin. He says, Seymour Rocks. That's Robin. Watching now. Great reporting, Margo. Thank you, Robin. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me. I don't know if you're over on TalkShoe. Let me see if you are. No, that's okay. I was going to see if you wanted to talk, but that's okay. Because I could unmute someone if they wanted to talk. I've just got everyone muted because I get so many trolls and the ghost in the machine and all that crap, and I just decided I don't want any interference. I don't want any ghosts talking to me today. So that's flipping me out. I'll show you another thing that's flipping me out. Here's NOAA. Oh, let me stop this so it's not using up all my buffering. Here's NOAA. This is the other website where people get methane data from. And from Sunday, December 2nd, there was no data. And Robin, you were reporting on that. See, image not available. No data, no data, no data, no data. Well, we've got data from Sunday, December 2nd over on CAMS. I just showed it to you. So this was on the METOP-1 satellite in the morning. Here's the METOP-1 satellite in the afternoon. No data. Image not available. And I kind of like live streaming to show this stuff just in case they come back and change it. I've got it recorded. Then it shows that I haven't messed with anything. Here's the MEDOT-2 satellite in the morning. Image not available. No data. So when we have an event, there's not going to be any data. But I'm going to show you something else. And in just a second here that I think you'll find very interesting. Here's the afternoon. No data. I'm like, yeah, what is going on up there? Where are the climate scientists when you need them? You know, where's Robert Fanny reporting on any of this? Now looky here. Let's go to Monday. Let's go. Okay, Monday, December 3rd. Let's see if we've got data from Monday. Yeah, we've got data from the morning. So this was from Monday, 2 days ago. That just came online. And these are all the different millibar readings. Let's go to this one. This is 1,000 millibars. This is at surface level. And their highest reading, their range is from 1,641 to 1,991 parts per billion. Well, we saw methane a lot higher than that, didn't we? So something's not right here. Something's not right. And this chart is hard to read. I just don't like NOAA. I like CAMS better when I'm looking at methane. And, you know, where it's gray, they say, oh, well, we can't get the image. And then you got these white spots where there's no data. So you can just assume that it's all red. Just assume that. And so like this red orange down here is about at 1,600. It would be about here. 1,600, I guess. I don't know. And then they've got the dark red up here. They don't have the purple. The purple. They've got dark red. And they're saying that dark red is 1,991 parts per billion. Well, we saw it higher than that over on CAMS. So I don't believe these people. I think they're messing around with the data, and I think it took them a couple of days to recalibrate all their stuff so that we wouldn't be flipping out. And then 586, people like to see it at, 500 millibars because it's higher. Oh, it's 2,321 parts per billion at 586 millibars. Well, what do you know? No, they recalibrated. That's what happened. They took all the data down and they recalibrated so we wouldn't be flipping out. That's my theory. Here's MEDOT-2 for the afternoon. Oh, look at all this missing data. See these huge white things? That's missing data. So let's see from MEDOT-2 for surface level what they decided it was in the afternoon. Well, we don't know up here for Alaska or for half the United States. We have missing data here. And if we have missing data for most of the Atlantic and Norway and Europe and this whole area in Africa and down here. We had missing data. We don't know. We can just assume it's all red. And then it goes from 1688 to 1959 parts per billion. This is just a joke. I'm not even going to look at NOAA anymore. I just don't believe him. Seriously, it's just a joke. So just for the heck of it, let's go to Tuesday, which was yesterday, and see what kind of data they have for us. Here's methane. Okay, well, the only missing data is in that white spot there. Now let's go down here to surface level. Yeah, they're screwing around with it. 1620 to 1974. I'm sorry. I can't deal with them. You know, that's crazy. That's just crazy. And then I've got Robin's blog post up here. He posted this. He made his own movies and put them up, little short ones, documenting this methane in the Arctic. So make sure to go to his blog post. I don't want to get a YouTube strike, so I'm not going to play these movies, but you can go to the blog post or Seymour Rocks on YouTube and watch these movies, and you can see. He doesn't say anything, he just shows the data, but he says, what the hell is going on in the Arctic? This was from Tuesday the 4th. Is there a methane event happening? The following is the data for surface methane emissions for Sunday, December 2nd, which is the latest available data. Much of Siberia is dark brown, which is the highest reading available. And it's also in the Arctic Ocean here, right here. That was from Sunday. And look at the red up here in the North Pole. And, you know, it's all. The following video shows surface methane readings going into the forecast period up to Thursday, December 7th. Your day ahead, so it's probably December 6th you meant. Note the very high readings, dark brown, which spread over the Arctic Sea up to the North Pole. Now, so there's the movie. And then you did another movie, Robin, where you said some people swear by the data for 500 HPA, which is about 18,000 feet. See the extremely high levels of methane for the entire Arctic region. Oh yeah, it's all red. And no data from NOAA. That's right. I just showed all of that. You're absolutely right. No data from NOAA. I think they were recalibrating everything down so that we wouldn't be flipping out. So just in case people want to see 500 HPA, we can certainly do that. Look at that. Talk about hell. We'll go back to Monday and we can run this movie. It's got to load up. It's going to take a little bit of time for it to load up here because I didn't run this movie earlier. But I think with all the earthquakes and everything that's happening, I think we are having a methane event, and it's the ground is releasing it in waves, and you can see it, and then it's going. Methane is so light, it goes right up in the atmosphere, and so it's gathering over the North Pole. Look at that. This is 500 HPA or 18,000 feet. Look at that. It's black even up there. Here it goes. And see, it's coming. Now we see it's coming around, like from the black from China and India, it looks like, and gathering. Look at that. That's just awful. It just looks like a black cauldron. Oh my God. Okay, I'm going to let that go, and I'm going to go back over to YouTube and see what people are saying. Yeah, perhaps NOAA needs the time to tamper data. That's exactly what I said, Robin. We're on the same page. Fallen Star says, hi, Margo. Came here to self-heal. Oh, hi, Fallen Star. Thank you. Victor says, I shared Robin's post with some of my friends, and then I had to spend hours trying to explain it, but some are waking up now, hopefully. See, that's the thing. You know, you have to study this, and you can't understand it all in one sitting, and like your brain just can't get it all. Your mind just can't go there. And like Robin has been doing abrupt climate change research for what, 8 years now, 6 or 8 years, and reporting. I started a couple of years ago looking at it, and then I started just doing some articles here and there on YouTube, and then in April I discovered CAMS and I started really looking at abrupt climate change back in January and joined some groups on Facebook and stuff. And then I discovered CAMS and figured out how to look at the charts and everything and started doing YouTube videos on it. And then I looked at the sea ice this summer. Robin and I tracked the sea ice all summer, and we thought that everything would be slowing down once the melt season stopped, but it's not. It's not slowing down. If anything, it's just getting more. And now this and the earthquakes. So I'm going to keep reporting on the earthquakes because I think they're important, is that they play in. They play into everything. Uh-oh, I'm going to go back to live chat. I think I'm missing some of the conversation. Oh, yeah, and if this is what's happening now, I mean, imagine if we're still here next summer, the heat is going to be unbearable. And the moisture in the atmosphere, there's going to be so much flooding and so many monsoons and typhoons and cyclones and hurricanes and, you know, atmospheric rivers, and it's going to be unbelievable. Bobby Stacy, hi Bobby. There's a level of shock, like reading that PDF report you shared with us. The mind clearly wants to unsee what is right there to distract. Oh, I know, Bobby. I know. And you'll go into depression with this. Just expect it. And eventually you'll get to the level of acceptance. But when you see stuff like this, it's a whole new level of flipping out. You know, it's a whole new level of shock. And it's like, how much more can we take in? And how much more can happen and us still be here and functioning? And this has taken a toll not only on our emotional health and well-being and our mental health and well-being and our minds, but physically with all the different toxins and the toxic soup and where it's at, it's just getting worse and worse and worse. and our bodies and are breaking down. And once 5G kicks in, oh my God, I don't know if I'm going to make it. I can feel myself, coming apart already. And I know other people are feeling it too. And we already have 5G here in Reno. They've already put it in for mobile carriers. They haven't put it in on the houses yet and hooked us up to, the Internet of Things. But for the mobile carriers, it's already in a lot of countries and a lot of cities around the world, and even in minor cities. I mean, Reno is not a major city. It's not like millions of people here, but I think 5G came in here probably about a year ago, and I felt it, and I can feel it when I drive into Reno, and I'm learning to see what the boxes look like, and it's awful. And we're just gonna come unwound. We won't be able to survive it. I'm serious. And with all this, and more nuclear power plants are going to melt down, and the whole thing, the whole thing. This the end. It's the end. And that's why I say that it's the end. And I'm ready. I'm ready for it to be the end. I'm tired. One more thing I want to show you. This is sulfur dioxide, and this is the Pacific view and it's kind of hard to see where all of the land mass is because of all the sulfur dioxide. This is the North America of up over here. Here's these volcanoes that keep going off in Mexico. This is Hawaii. This is China that has a lot of sulfur dioxide coming up. Here's Alaska. Down here, we can see this red plume that came up. I wanted to show you this. This was from Monday, December 3rd. This, a lot of times we will have these red plumes coming up right before geologic activity, right before a lot of earthquakes start happening. And so this is exactly where all those earthquakes down off of New Caledonia are happening. I wanted to show you this. So it's all connected. This is, let it run through. And see, we've got sulfur dioxide coming off of New Zealand, the North Island there. Look at that, where it started over on Monday. And it's all around the Ring of Fire. We can see this sulfur dioxide is just a constant thing. Then when that goes up in the atmosphere, that destroys the ozone as well. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. I mean, I know that things are falling apart really fast. But like we were saying, I don't think anyone was expecting the methane event in the wintertime. I really don't. I think they were expecting it when the ice was melting in the summertime and everything was heating up there. They weren't expecting it in the wintertime. And so everyone said, oh, we made it through another year and we can let our guards down and we can party hardy now. And I'm like, no, now is the time for us to focus. We've got to focus. We've got to buckle down and we've got to really pay attention. We've got to really pay attention. Robert Hayes says, I used to enjoy winter seed ordering, anticipating the growing in spring and summer. Now it takes longer to get my spirit in an appropriate place. However, I appreciate your work as I'd rather be exposed to the truth. Margo, thanks. I agree, Robert. I'd rather know the truth. That's why I say power to the truth. If we know the truth, we know what we're dealing with, we know what we're up against, rather than being duped and rather than someone lying to us and pulling the wool over our eyes and saying, oh, it's not so bad, and oh, we can just have carbon tax and just tax the elite and tax everybody, and everything will be fine. No, everything will not be fine. And we will not we will never get off of fossil fuels. We never will, because we'd have to give up war. We'd have to give up the nuclear industry. We'd have to give up all of that. The whole military industrial complex would have to come down. And if we did give up fossil fuel, it would heat everything up so much faster. We just end it so much faster. So at this point, there is no fix. And people can do whatever makes them feel good to feel like they're helping it not be so bad for the end or whatever. But we still have 450 active nuclear power plants around the world and about 150 deactivated. So all of those have to be babysat till the end of time. Otherwise, they blow up, and that radiation is there for sometimes, maybe a million years. So we're screwed. We're just screwed. What can I say? I don't even know how long we've been going. 61 minutes. So that's all I had to share with everyone today. I just wanted to show you what was going on. I wanted to show you the methane. I wanted to show you the earthquakes. And then I wanted to show you the sulfur dioxide. And, you really have to be researching and looking at this data for yourself and ask for discernment, as to be shown the truth, and you will be shown the truth, and be willing to look at it and have an open mind and accept it, and be willing to let go of, I call it your belief reality cap, where you've been preconditioned with certain beliefs. And scientists are the worst. Scientists are the worst about beliefs, because they've been indoctrinated with, oh, their science is the only way to understand it. Well, this is off the charts. This is not like conventional science, folks. This is not conventional, and the science that we've been looking at will not explain any of this. It's all wrong. Our concepts and our views are all wrong on all of this, and we have to be open to see the data and understand it with fresh eyes. And this is why I'm able to do it, because I'm not a scientist. I'm an empath. And thanks to Valhalla, I have a new title for myself. I'm the Scientific Empath. I feel things. I feel these earthquakes. When that huge earthquake went off in Alaska last Friday, I got kinked up. My back, my shoulder blade, my right shoulder blade got so kinked up, and I was in so much pain. And it happened instantly when that earthquake went off. As soon as I saw the earthquake, I'm like, oh, okay, that's what it was from. And it took me about 4 or 5 hours to unkink. But I feel these things. I'm a conduit for the energy of Mother Earth. I am in constant feeling with her. And so from when I feel, and it's like, well, something doesn't look right, something doesn't feel right to me, then I went to looking at the little tiny earthquakes, and then I had the dream, and then I'm looking at little tiny earthquakes. And it's like, oh my God. But I'm able to, then look look at the data and say, oh, well, this is why everything's happening the way it is. Victor says, thanks for sharing this, Margo. Take care, and we will be on our watch every day because I feel you are right that the methane event is going on right now. Yeah, I think so. And I will be reporting as I can. I had a really busy week last week, so I couldn't report as often as I wanted to. Some weeks are going to be busier than others because of my personal obligations, but I'm not going to be very busy until um, next week. So maybe I can get a couple more reports in before next week. But I'm going to be watching all this very closely, very closely, and I will bring it to you if I'm able to. If I'm physically able to, I will bring you this as fast as I can. Bobby says, Dutch since reported a deep quake there at 7.8 this morning. The uptick rings around Gaia, another wave. I know, I know. It's insane. 4,000 earthquakes worldwide in the last week, and there will be more. There will be more. This is just the beginning. So I'm going to sign off. I want to thank everyone. I've got 20 who are watching me now. Thank you for joining me and following me and supporting me and helping be here with me. Let's hold the light for Mother Earth. Time is short, and I believe that we won't be here much longer. No one knows the day or the hour, and I don't know exactly how fast it's all going to happen. It's going to happen at different times for each of us. But I love all of you. I encourage you to get your spiritual houses in order. God bless everyone. Go in peace, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you, and goodbye. And I'm going to stop this live stream.